Round 21, Buy, Hold, Sell podcast. Welcome, listeners. Joined by Cord, as always. Exciting time of the year, and in fantasy. Origin's done. We can get those pods in. Dual position has just come in, so we'll talk about that. What's on your mind, mate?
Mate, we were going to get a live reaction from the dual position podcast positions.
Yeah, we were trusted 4:15 when they were coming out, and I think that mail was wrong.
4:15, but it's all right. We're back here for the Buy, Hold, Sell podcast, mate. There's some good sort of pods here from the dual positions that I'm liking.
Yeah, we're just looking through them just real quickly. First that comes to mind is Connor Watson, middle and hooker.
Yeah, that's a big one. I know.
Our buy of the week.
Yeah, look, I want to preface that by the week because he did get sin binned and then he got moved to the centres.
No.
So I think he'll be back next
Seriously,
week.
give us a spell.
He'll get 70 this week. Trust me.
Yeah, like he's been absolutely eating. The 1 week we put him as our buy, he moves to centre.
Yeah, it was
Gets
tough.
a sin bin,
Tough.
against the Storm, so it's tough.
But Watson, I think a lot of people would have sold Harry Grant after he got injured from that week before Origin and would have got Damien Cook. So I think Watson is definitely a good option to bring in this week, or if you haven't already, you already got that hooker position now. So I think it's a good option.
It's like people who are like, oh, he's got a high break even now of 76. It's like, once it gets to this stage of the season, you're trying to target who you're trying to target as soon as possible.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people who don't like playing fantasy in the Origin sort of buy rounds sort of pick up again late in the year because they can just get whoever they want.
Yeah, exactly.
And they'll play.
Everyone's got those extra trades now to absolutely splurge.
And if you've been a fan of the podcast for quite a while, you know that we love getting pods. And I can tell you now that I'll be touching on a few pods later in the podcast for the listeners to enjoy this weekend.
What about Beau Fermor at centre?
Well, there's your first one.
Straight into it.
I was going to talk about Beau Fermor. Look, he has been killing it for the Titans. He's probably been a bit underwhelming considering how much he's been moved to centre. I mean, he is an edge back rower that is being fitted in the centre when the Titans have had outside back injuries. He got 70 on the weekend.
He's been very underrated this year.
He's 662K. He can play that centre position now. He's sort of that player like Ewan Aiken. He gets through a lot of work. I'd be inclined to buy him. I'm inclined to buy him now and whack him in your centre spot if you need a centre. So
I'm just looking at other dual positions to note. Jaden Campbell gets that half dual.
Yeah, before we move on there, Fermor, 70 points on the weekend, 61 the week before. He gets through a mountain of work. He got 33 tackles last week, 7 tackle busts, ran for over 100 metres. If you need that centre role, I'd be picking him up this week.
Anytime you get a forward or an edge player who also gets that centre dual position, get him in.
1.3% of teams, so that's your big pod right there. So
say less.
Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, I was just going to say Jaden Campbell, handy to have that half dual. Apart from that, like Dylan Lucas is probably not a buy. Too much chopping and changing.
Yeah, I mean,
Jack Howarth.
It's probably a bit underwhelming, these dual positions updates in round 21. It is the last of the dual positions. We should note that before the end of the year, obviously.
Jack Howarth, edge and centre is handy. He's a decent little cheapie this week.
Yeah. The other ones are very irrelevant.
Mariota.
Yeah, people who aren't playing, or, I mean, Adam Dewey, he might have been a bit relevant, but now he's injured. So,
There you go. Same as Hopewade.
Yeah. Mate, we should crack on to some buys this week because there's a lot
let's
of
get
them.
Into it. Let's just talk about the first one, and probably if there's anything to take away from this podcast, buy Nathan Cleary.
Yes. Yeah.
Do we really need to back this up with stats?
You know what? We copped some flack, like we said on the TLT podcast, for saying that he's not a buy. Only the experienced players would understand why he wasn't a buy last week. But in saying that, he got 76 points. So we can eat our words if you want.
If you don't have haters, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, and he did get down 35K from last week. He's now cheaper. He's versing the Drags on the weekend. I'm saying 80 plus for Cleary this week. And
Are you willing to run a half marathon if he doesn't? That's still in the works, by the way. The file got corrupted.
Yeah. You know what? I'll say if Cleary doesn't get 60 plus, I'm happy to do a half marathon. 60 plus.
This will be clipped.
Yeah, it will be clipped.
I think you're actually a man of your word.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it.
It'll come for me. With that, I think the timing was bad with that Nico thing because he got injured that week.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Cleary, like I said on TLT podcast, for those who watched it, I thought he didn't do as much as his points indicated. Like, he didn't run
King
the
of
ball.
ghosties.
He didn't, he wasn't involved for 45 of the 80 minutes, and he still got 76 points.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's the fantasy goat. Get him in, throw the captaincy on him. You're not going to do anything wrong doing that.
Well, it's the most important thing in fantasy, picking the right captain.
Yeah, and Penrith don't have another bye, so he's going to be playing for you for the next 6 weeks. Get him in your team.
I
Just let him sit there.
I fear for my Red V.
Yeah, I fear for the Red V as well. I'm not even a supporter.
They've got all their players back as well, Penrith, so
Yeah.
it'll be at least 13 plus.
Yeah.
All right, next guy does have a bye in round 23, Angus Crichton. Just ultra consistent. A lot of people would have traded him throughout Origin.
Yeah, I've already seen questions, Mick, about Angus Crichton on the TLT ones. I'd say he is in a void for me just because of that bye. I mean,
Yeah, that makes sense.
I know a lot of people only have 6-7 trades like us. I don't really want to be getting people in for them to sit out a week.
As well, if you're a head-to-head player, this is something to note. Round 23 for a lot of people is the first round of, finals.
Yeah.
So you really don't want...
And I'm pretty sure that's when they have the bye.
Yeah, so
the Roosters.
exactly. So that's
Yeah.
round 23. You don't really want people out.
So I'd be inclined, mate, to go a bit more of a Yao route, a Koala Matangi,
Yeah.
a McInnes almost like.
The way I think about it is you just target these people after the bye. So Ponga next week.
Yeah.
Crichton round 24. Cleary this week.
Bateman,
Turbo maybe round 23.
Not Bateman. Barnett. I know the Wires have the bye last round, so if you're good enough to make it to the finals in the last round, you're doing pretty well. But he's just a must-have. But the stats don't lie for Crichton. He's going to still get you 60 points, but I just rather have someone who's still going to get 60 points like a Yao, Barnett, and don't have that sort of disruption with the bye round. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Next guy, winger fullback, absolutely gobbled on the weekend. Tommy Turbo. Bye is around in round 22. So same logic, I'd say.
Same logic for Tommy. My only query for him is, and we touched a little bit on the TLT podcast, his base stats aren't that great.
Well, yeah. Well, I said that, on the previous pod, like we didn't really see much of a ceiling,
No.
especially if he's not scoring. He was only getting, probably 40s.
Yeah.
And then he got 91. So
Yeah,
it
he
was,
did get 91.
It was against a hapless Titans outfit. But I still think he looked good, like eye test wise.
Eye test wise, he was good.
He's running onto it.
The bye, again, it does sort of hurt. A lot of teams would have Garrick. A lot of teams would also have, who else plays for Manly? Olakawatu.
Yeah.
So there's 3 people that...
DC like me.
Yeah, DC if you like Mick. But a lot of people will have 3+ Manly players. So you got to just really you got to plan ahead for those bye rounds.
Yeah, exactly. I'll move on to another guy who's winger fullback centre who might be the better option. Hammer. Also someone who's base isn't incredible, but he's prolific. He's a prolific.
Sorry, I was just uploading.
Is that thrills or is that?
Yeah, it was the thrill. Yeah, I was uploading the Instagram post, but there you go.
Back to Hammer.
Yeah, back to Hammer.
Where was I?
He was a thrill, the Hammer.
Yeah, I was just gonna say his base stats aren't great, but it's you're talking about Hamiso. He's going to score at least 1 or 2 tries, and if he doesn't, it's unfortunate. I
Yes.
think he's a great buy at 590k around there. Doesn't have another buy. In the centres, like it.
Yeah, I think he's a good buy, mate.
He's great to watch as well.
He only scored. He only hasn't scored in 2 games that he's played all year.
Yeah, he's going to score.
He's almost like $1.50 to score every game.
He's versing the Titans. The Dolphins look pretty good. It's not as if they've been in poor form, but they're still scoring points.
Yep.
So I like it.
77, yeah, I like it. I like the Hammer. 590k. He's another good centre option if you can't afford Fermor this week.
Yeah, Reece Walsh, similar sentiments to Turbo, buying round 24, but after Origin he looked great.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? what did he get on the weekend? 57 with a try.
Mickey Ennis was glazing.
Yeah, he was glazing, wasn't he?
Fair enough.
He got 57 with a try, and I'm also looking here 5 tackle busts, 2 try assists. So there is a bit of a worry there that his base stats might not be as good if he doesn't get those attacking stats. But like that's sort of like every wing fullback, eh? Like,
it's pretty hard to like.
And if you're like me, who sold Edwards 2 weeks ago when he got injured or whenever it was, and he's back actually next week, I'm sort of kicking myself that I did that and saying that I got Barnett, but Edwards is probably a premium option to get back.
You basically got to make a decision. Do you want Ponga, Walsh, Turbo out of those like winger fullbacks? And I think Walsh might be the third in that list.
And when does the Knights have their... So the Knights have their bye this week
Knights
and
have
then
and then they're done.
Okay.
And they got a pretty good schedule. It is a bit annoying Best will be out, I think, for the remainder of the season because Ponga and him were lovely together.
Yeah.
But I still think Ponga's a good buy next week.
Yeah, I bought Best in my Supercoach team, actually. So a bit kick in there, but oh well. That's
We
what it
need
is.
to talk about Supercoach, mate.
Yeah. Moving on.
Imagine a Supercoach, all that Supercoach.
Jeez. We'd have some pods on that team.
Yeah, we'd get roasted.
Yeah.
RTS, like, he's cheap. And he is at winger fullback. He is at fullback, this week, but to a peak, he may come back.
Yeah, if you watched the TLT podcast and listened all the way through to that terrible audio from Quincy Nugent, who was the guest, you would have heard that he said RTS as the pod of the week. You are right, 390k. What was he?
I think he's 490.
475k.
475, 18 break even.
I'm inclined to say that he averages like 40 something at fullback. Is that right?
He's got one score of 48 this year at fullback, but like in general, we know what he can do at fullback.
Yeah.
Last week he got moved to fullback, scored well. I think it's just a matter of, do you think he holds the position? If he kills it, I think he does.
Yeah.
And I think your reasoning would be he's versing the Tigers, and that's almost enough.
That's
They
almost
stink.
enough, yeah.
They're terrible. They're hapless. They're asinine. 10 and 11.
They are just stinking it. Is this going to be 3 years in a row, Spoon? Is that right? 3 years? You got to feel for the Tigers fans. Like there is hope that things are going.
There's a light at the end of the tunnel. Galvin's
is
a beast. Bull is good. Luai's coming.
So there is light. There is light, but the light is very dim at the moment. But back on RTS by round 27, so that last round of your finals. So if you make the final and you have RTS, happy days. Otherwise, if you make the final regardless, it's a pretty good effort. So
I like him as a buy.
you like him? Yeah.
It's just to a peak, he's pretty good, and they might
You might get him back.
because you can fit both of them in the team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's up to you really.
Yeah. Tom
Next,
Starling, you're quite happy with Tom Starling?
Well, I am very happy. I'm pissed I didn't get him, but like we know what he can do when he gets good minutes. It's just a matter of, is Ricky going to be nice to fantasy coaches? And he has been a bit of a he's been a weak gutted dog to us in the past.
Is there anyone on the bench for the Raiders in the hooker spot?
Levi has been there, but he's still been playing good minutes.
Levi is there. Levi had the worst start to 2024,
Mate.
by the way. And Starling's just sitting there on the bench, and he's just like, cool, just play me my 20 minutes, man. I'll be happy. I'm glad he's there now.
With respect to Levi, like, get Michael Leisha back in the league. If this is who we're going to give you. Anyway, Starling 62 on the weekend, 51 points the week before that, 53 the week before that. He's playing over 70 minutes, played 80 on the weekend, and he's cheap.
Yeah.
The only worry is obviously Ricky, but at
I'm happy to take the
438K,
risk. I'm happy to take the risk.
Definitely happy to take the risk. -5 break even. Like, do the Raiders have another buy?
No.
I don't think they do.
No.
So
No buy.
I like it.
Yeah, I like that buy as well.
It is tough at this time of the year to getting those like mid ranges.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to finance getting someone like Cleary by going down to those guys.
Well, you do want those buys, and it's a good time to point out that it is okay to just go like, I'm going to get Cleary and a 200k player with a red dot. So like that's okay because then you can just loop him, and you'll be you can have an extra chance for that last bench player. So
Yeah, exactly.
that's completely fine to do if you're getting a gun. I wouldn't mind Starling either. I mean, if you can't afford a Watson for that backup hooker role, if you need it, I think he's a good option.
Yeah, definitely. These next two guys are cheaper, as we talked about. You're trying to get those downgrade options as cheap as possible. Jack Howarth, edge centre, 370K, but he's been killing it. Finally, I think, proved why he was given such a big contract.
Yeah. I mean, Jack Howarth, we always saw the talent in him, obviously coming up against him on the schoolboy level.
He was great to watch.
It was good to watch.
He's dominant.
He's been playing out of his skin recently, Howarth in the centre.
He's just so quick for how big he is.
Yeah. I mean,
and he's versatile.
his defence, I think, was quite an issue that Bellamy had from memory.
I assume that's what it is.
And it's improved our sight. He was very good defensively on the weekend.
Yeah. So in terms of fantasy, the next guy as well is really cheap, Casey McLean.
Yes.
I'm asking you this, would you rather go to Casey McLean, who is cheap as chips, but, may underperform? He's 280, Casey McLean.
Yep.
Or go to Howarth, who's about 100K more, but probably score more.
The good thing about Casey McLean is that he plays on the left edge for the Panthers, and the Panthers only attack down their left edge as a Tago owner. I've found that out the hard way. I thought Casey McLean was pretty involved on the weekend and had a pretty good game. 32 points, 3 tackle busts, 17
obviously
tackles.
Obviously the red V as well.
Yeah, look, I don't know. If you need a cash out option, I'd probably go Howarth. If I'm being honest, I think he's got more job security.
It is very tough.
Yeah.
Negative 3 break even.
371K though. That's another issue.
I think if you pretend you're 50K off getting Cleary.
You take McLean.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you take McLean.
So it's like, if you can afford Howarth, probably do it. But I'm pretty happy with people getting Casey McLean this week.
Yeah, agreed.
And probably the last of the buys, just in general, we've talked about these guys the last 3 years. They're guns, Payne Haas and Isaiah Yao.
I think it's the week to get Payne Haas if you're after a middle. I think Payne Haas is your best bet. Break even of 24, 820K. I think mate, if you need Payne Haas and you got to get him, it's the week to get him. Absolutely.
Yeah. His break even 69, but he has the buy in round 24.
He does have the buy in round 24.
Yeah,
and it sort of goes against my logic, but
I feel like Isaiah Yao is like.
Well, how much is Yao?
I feel like Isaiah Yao might be
774. Wow.
My better option.
Yeah, Isaiah's 774. And what's his break even?
Both got 69 break even.
Oh. Wait, what's this then? VR 24.
That's when his buy is.
Buy round. Sorry, my bad. So he doesn't have a break.
Accepted.
Yeah. So he doesn't have a break even 24.
If you look at Isaiah Yao before sort of Origin happened, he was pumping out 70 plus minutes, 80 minutes, and his scores are ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm with you now. I think Isaiah Yao is
because if you look at his games in and around Origin, obviously he's getting a bit of a rest. Like he's playing, last 2 games, 56 minutes, 68.
Yeah, we should see him back at 80 minutes. I'd say
at least for the run home. I almost would put him as like a top 3 buy this week because they don't have another buy coming up as well.
Yep, I agree. I thought that meant break even 24, and I was laughing there.
He's a buy.
Yeah, it's serious buy. No, I rate that then. 774K. I see him as a must get this week then.
Well, you're getting 2. Basically, you're getting 2 Penrith players.
Yep.
And maybe 3 with Casey McLean to finance that.
3.
Yep. There you go. And they're not a bad team to have.
There's your trade sorted, ladies and gentlemen. Cleary and Isaiah Yao.
Casey McLean or Jacob Little Willie, if you're on a pod. Yes. Who's mid. That's the rest of the buys. I'm sure we might be, forgetting about someone, and there might be late mail where someone emerges as a better buy, but we'll move on to the holds. First one, disappointing on the weekend, Jahrome Hughes.
Yeah, bit disappointing, Jahrome. I mean, he now has Munster that's coming back. I don't know. I haven't seen any stats around it, but I'm not sure if that helps or worsens his score. I can't say it's good.
I assume it's bad.
Yeah, I can't say it helps him.
I can actually get that up. But if Munster does come in this week, would you sell?
No, I'd hold him one more
I definitely would hold him because I think there's
too much upside for him.
There's more priorities.
Yeah, there is more priorities. And as an owner of Moses and Max King, I have to sell those 2. So I would wait on for Hughes. I don't have him actually, so I'm a Braden Trindle owner.
He averaged 54 with Munster this year.
Yep.
So if the only way you can get Cleary is trading in, then maybe.
Yep.
Apart from that, hold. Simple one. Next player is Fainu. just got mail that Bateman is going to the Super League.
Oh,
Bro, Blood does really not like Australia.
no, he doesn't.
Inconsistent relationship with Australia, maybe. Obviously, might be homesick.
Yeah.
I get selling Fainu just because he hasn't been performing like excellent. We had technical difficulties. I don't know what the fuck I was yapping about, but
Technical stoppage.
I think it was Fainu.
It was funny. Anyway,
So-
I know Bateman going to the Super League. He hates Australia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he does hate Australia. Fainu, I get selling. To be honest.
I get selling as well. And I think,
Because if you're trying to get a gun, he's not a gun.
yeah, and we're going to touch on a few sells, but I think he's in the same sort of boat as Max Plath, who
Yeah.
is okay, but he's just not scoring as good as the Yaos, the Haases, the Barnett. So you just got to upgrade him.
At hooker, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd obviously hold Teddy
And Connor Watson.
and
for that
Connor
matter.
Watson.
Yep.
Maddo is an interesting one. He's starting at lock, so it's like,
Yeah, I don't know how many break evens up
God,
here.
he's underwhelming. So
underwhelming.
frustrating.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've bought him twice this year now, thinking that he's going to be the Maddo of old. I think he should be fine at lock. He should be fine. I'm
Yeah.
happy to keep him.
I'd definitely hold him.
Two
At
point-
least this week to see how he goes.
He's
Eels don't have another
554k lock. He'll be fine. He'll be fine.
Yes. Val Holmes, interesting one. Like,
Yeah, we did touch on him in the TLT podcast. Val, he's definitely been underwhelming this year. 589k. Look, we say he's been underwhelming. He still averages 47, so it's not awful.
yeah. If I saw someone go Val Holmes to Hammer, slightly sideways, but I don't hate it.
I don't hate it at all.
If you have a lot of trades.
Val Holmes is also playing on the wing now, so you got to sort of encounter that.
End has a buy around 25, which is not a good buy.
Not a good buy at all. Semi-final round, so I would be selling Val. I would be.
Tyran Wishart, just wait for the Munster news.
Late mail news.
He's
Yep.
been a great servant.
Yeah, he's done well, Wishart. I never jumped on because I thought he was just going to be the same Wishart of old. But he's
He's a hog, and I love it.
He's really improved. Is there a most improved award in the NRL? I don't think there is.
I think there should be.
There should be.
Who
Could
should
he?
get
Because he would.
most improved.
I think he would get it.
Hmm.
I think he would get it. And that's off
Yeah.
the top of my head.
Biggest most improved award would have been Tommy Dearden. That
Yeah,
one
Tom
year.
Dearden. Yeah, I mean he's gone up another level this year. Tom
Yeah.
Dearden.
I'm
Terrell
sure we're
May,
forgetting
maybe
some.
he could be most improved.
If we're talking about throughout the season, it's fucking Keeney.
Yeah, Keeney, absolutely. We had some haters for that call, but that's aged like fine wine. So
Yeah, we took note of that as well.
we know who
Ethan-
you are. We know who you are.
Metho, Ethan Innes was on the podcast last week, and I don't know why because of that take. Anyway,
We got
on to the
desperate.
sells. Yeah, anyway, Wishart definitely a sell if Munster's
Absolutely.
back.
Yep.
Sells, we talked about it before, Max Plath, I'm happy for you to sell. 30s just isn't cutting it, and he can finance a lot of players for you.
Yeah, like we said, I mean, just upgrade. I mean, if you have to downgrade him as well to get Cleary, I'm happy for you guys to do that as well.
Yeah. Johnny Bateman, if
Go
anyone
on.
has him, he's homesick, he can go.
See you, bud.
Bradman best, injured, gone. It's very unfortunate news because I thought Nice would have gone on a fat run, and I'm not so sure now.
Yeah,
Especially with their halves. They are terrible to watch. Stop doing short balls to your back rowers. Dude, it's so frustrating.
You'd think KPP has scored 20 tries this year.
Oh, it's like, I get that it's...
He still hasn't scored an NRL try, by the way.
Who's that?
KPP, and he goes short every single time.
Yeah, bit off.
I think
KPP.
Kalen Ponga back in their attack will spark their attack, obviously.
Yeah, they really need to buy a half.
But Hastings
Have
at the moment he is just not cooking at all. He is not him.
No.
He is not him.
He thinks he's him.
No, he's not him.
Keao Weekes, definitely a sell.
Yeah, his numbers aren't there for fullback, is it?
Yeah.
He just misses
We
that kicking.
appreciate you.
He's done well. He's a great servant. Shout out KO. It's a lovely
KPP.
streaming platform, but he's got to go.
KPP, you've done good. It's time to go. Been very mid recently.
Yeah, he's just not getting involved as much as he
Yeah, and
as
they
he
got
has
and they
been.
got to buy.
Yep.
Simple one. Brendan Hands, fucking Eels hookers. Seriously, Lussick is back on the bench.
It's actually good news that Riles has come in and he said that he's going to make a lot of changes for next year. I'm hearing Gutho is going to be not captain next year. There's going to be a bit of shake up with the forward pack. I think that's good news. And the Parramatta Eels obviously need something to go their way and something to change.
I
Because
could see them being top 8 next year. Blaze fullback, Lomax coming in.
like I said at the start of the year, this is the most open competition the NRL has seen in a long time. There's not one real standout team. There's a lot of teams vying for the 8.
I think there's 3 teams that are definitely clear, like Penrith, Roosters, Storm.
But I can see the
from
Broncos
there,
beating them, and I can see other teams beating them. So
well, the Roosters definitely. They're fraudulent.
yeah. And then the top 8. I mean, there's 6, 7 teams that could still make the 8.
As a Red V fan, we just aren't that good.
No, but you're
We
still
like
there.
hovering,
You're still there. So
Brendan Piakura, short-term injury, but it's like he's not scoring well. I'd move him to like a Howarth or something.
yeah, he's a good starting by, obviously. But it's now time to go for sure.
Yeah, I feel like he might. I rate Piakura, but geez, he gets glazed by commentators.
I don't know how he was in conversation for Origin. Like, great player, but he's young and
If someone's just looking at the stats and seeing that Fafita wasn't picked and Piakura was, they'd be
imagine American
jaw dropped.
Imagine trying to explain to an American how this bulldozer man called David Fafita is not in the Origin team. It still baffles me.
It's like
It baffles me.
It's like not picking Steph Curry for the USA team.
I would
Not
go that
really
far.
not really like that, but we
Yeah.
moved. And Trey Fuller, benched, see ya. Been very good this year. I like Trey Fuller. And Xavier Willison, time to go.
Time to go blood.
Origin players are back. He's done well.
Yeah, he's done well as well. We were really worried. I think you said, I don't know if you said it on podcast or off podcast, that there wasn't enough cheapies, but we've actually been proven wrong that there is actually probably the best cheapies that we've had in recent years. So
And a great cheaper year in recent history.
Yeah.
Maybe a top 3 cheaper year.
Look, mate, that's probably the buy, hold, sell. We have got Connor Burnshaw on dial. He wants to give a few things, so we'll see how long this goes for.
It doesn't feel natural doing a potty without Door involved some way, in some capacity.
Well, here we go. We're on.
Finally.
Door.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, mate. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good.
That's good to hear. You got Mick here as well.
Yeah. Thanks for picking up so swiftly, Door. Appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, sorry about that, brother. I don't know what was going on there.
That's okay, mate. That's okay. Look, mate, we have gone through a few buys this week. We've given Beau Fermor the pod of the week. Well, he's definitely my pod of the week, mate, considering
Jewel's lovely.
His duel in centre. He's really been cooking this year for the Titans. Do you have a buy of the week yourself?
In the pod form, brother. Well, we can start with the pod form.
Yeah, give us the pod form.
I'm thinking, Jacob Preston for me, Cord. I think he's in 2.2% of teams. Look, obviously he only played 68 minutes last week, but I really think he can get back to the form that he had earlier in the season, pumping out around 50 to 60 points and potentially get the upside with a try or a couple and get around 80 points. So that's who I'm looking for as a pod buy of the week this week.
Yeah, really good take, Door. He got 36 tackles on the weekend, 1 sort of turnover point or whatever you want to call that, 90 metres gained and nothing else. So no attacking stats whatsoever for Preston, which
we saw what he did before that ankle injury.
So he's definitely
and you just look at
plus scorer.
The Dogs run as well, Cord. The Dogs run
It's
and
versing the hapless Broncos this weekend. Freebie points.
Yeah, and Raiders, Dragons, Dolphins, Warriors, Manly, and the Cowboys. So I think they've got a pretty good run for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and
I think Preston should get back to those 80 minutes, especially with Fish of the Week or Fish of the Month, Fish of the Year, whatever you want to call it. Jamin Salmon, unfortunately out for at least I think a month. So
obviously no buy round Door for the doggies as well, which helps their cause.
Yes, exactly right.
Any other buys, mate? Oh, you got something?
I was just going to say, Door, hit us with your 2 best
you go,
buys.
Mick. Oh, my 2 best buys. Look, let's cut straight to it. Some people call this man that they reckon that without a good draw or potentially, the upside of the Dolphins, I think that Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow, you probably touched on him already.
Yeah.
Break even of 20 this week, priced at $590K. I know the Panthers had a few players out last week, but he scored 77 points. And I just really like how he, this season, compared to others, he's actually really getting into the offense and he's actually evolving as a fullback compared to, say, maybe last year. I think he's really starting to get into that fullback role. Just have a look at some of his run meters this season, like 250 run meters. He's run twice. And then high 100, like over 150 to 200 meters at least 4 times as well this season. I think if he stays healthy, I think if he stays healthy, he's got a great matchup this week against the Titans. I think he stays healthy, he could be a premier option, and obviously also has that centre and wing fullback dual eligibility as well.
Yeah, we touched on the Hamador. If you can't afford Fermor or any like Garricks, I think he's a good price at 590k. I think you nailed it on the head there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and my second option is probably another one you've touched on. I was tossing up between him and Jack Howarth, but I know this man has the bye next week. But I think I'm pretty sure you got him in last week, called Tommy Turbo. I know he does not play next week, but he has a break even of 20. And just with the Manly run, I know we've touched on Manly's beautiful draw after this bye: Raiders, Stunning. Warriors, Tigers, Bulldogs, and Sharks. I think if you're going to get Turbo, you got to get him this week just because of that break even. He could potentially make a fair bit of money and then be too high for you to get in a couple of weeks. So obviously, since he's gone back to fullback, 52 points 2 weekends ago against Newcastle, and then obviously 91 on the weekend, and he was just involved in everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you've got to get in Tommy Turbo.
Yeah, well said, Dora. I agree with all three of those. I think that's very well said, Dor. Very well said. I think everyone will enjoy that.
I hope so, brother. I hope so. I apologise I'm not there, but unfortunately under the weather. So I'll be back next week.
Get better, Dor.
Rest up, mate. Get better. Thanks for coming on regardless.
Can we get a hashtag Dor get better soon?
Yeah, get a hashtag Dor get better.
If anyone's listening this far in.
Yeah.
Thanks, boys. Thanks, listeners. We'll see you all next week.
Will do, mate.
Catch you,
see you then. Sorry, Dor. Cut you off there.
He's a great man.
Yeah, good stuff, Dor. I think we've really nailed it on the head there with all the buy, hold, sells. So, in recap, mate, Isaiah, Cleary, get them in. Hammer, Beau Fermor. There is a lot of them that could potentially be in.
If someone used 4 trades this week or 3,
I wouldn't be against it.
No, this is a big week.
Yep. Might leave it there, eh?
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
We'll catch you next week. Make sure you send us a DM, subscribe to the pod.
Yeah.
Buy a hat if you haven't already. Bentley's not here to do his plug, so.
Yeah. Bentley will be back soon, and I'll be gone.
Yeah. Might be doing
We'll just do a switch.
Bit of a rotation going on here.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see you then. Catch you later.